Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome to another video. Hope you guys are doing well today. I want to talk about what changes I would like to see in Kata. Now, I mentioned in my last video some of the changes added to Wrath of the Lich King that either were or weren't suitable to be continued into Kata. So, what changes could they introduce to Kata that would be interesting and fun to see, and potentially to remain in future classic expansions? Because that was my biggest issue with the Wrath changes, is that a lot of them didn't have longevity to the game. So, my first one is Flex Raiding. This came at the end of Mr. Pandaria originally and is in fact one of my favourite ideas on this list. Flex raiding offered players the ability to raid from 10 to 30 players. People obviously found the efficient numbers, things like 2 tanks, 2 healers, 6 DPS, 2 tanks, 3 healers, 9 DPS, and 2 tanks, 4 healers, 14 DPS. The advantage of all this is if one person from your raid has to go, or doesn't show up, or whatever happens, the entire raid isn't forced to quit or find a replacement. It offers a lot of quality of life without very much downside. Challenge mode dungeons. Again, another feature that came in MOP, but I believe would be well received in Cataclysm. Also, there's zero loot reward time dungeons with just increased difficulty. This adds a lot of content to the game with zero more loot injection, which is a complete positive. Blizzard may have to do like a title or a cosmetic set, but it's actually a pretty simple addition. The other advantage to this, some of these dungeons have already been used in the Mythic Plus scene, which means they already have some of this scaling and some of the times and things like that down already. Cross faction and racial shift. Now, before people shout at me, I know this is a really unlikely one to happen, but after playing with it for some time, it's actually pretty nonsensical that it doesn't exist. Cataclysm was never an expansion about tenuous relationships between Horde and Ally. In fact, they literally came together to beat Deathwing and Ragnaros. Racial shift is something that is even more unlikely, and for those that don't understand, you could be like a Tauren druid but have the racials of a troll druid. It doesn't change anything gameplay wise, or sorry, storyline wise, just gameplay wise. Um, I can see why people might not like that. Me personally, I would love it as a feature. Now, prior to the PTR announcements, I would have said bind an account mounts and achievements, but that's happening, so yay. I would also like the collection tab to be added for transmog instead of having to physically hold on items I want to transmog. That'd be pretty fun also. One of the more interesting changes and would require some work on Blizzard's end is chromie time. Being able to switch between the old zones and the new zones would be a massive player based W. I personally like the new zones, but some people dislike them with such a passion that they won't play Kata. And it just needs not to be an issue. A system we already see in retail, just have an NPC that swaps your phase to new or the old zone. I feel like none of these changes add particularly much, if any, negative value, but they add a lot more content, i.e., like accessible raiding, more dungeon content, actual reasons to farm old raids, leveling characters through new and old zones. And speaking of, my final change, and one I think will be quite controversial. Currently in retail, you get like a massive damage bonus if you are doing content that is 2 expansions prior to current. That allows you to solo the content, basically. I'd love something akin to this in Kata, so I can go on farm my classic and TBC sets without needing to form a raid. So what do you guys think? Can you see any of these changes being added? Is there any more I haven't thought of? Let me know in the comments, and as always, thanks for watching, guys. Bye.